Psychology by Emma Cohen and Angela Lafreniere.
Education and training.
What educational background is needed in order to pursue this career? You need chemistry, biology, math, history, sociology, physics, religion, and art and literature.
What would you be studying in the programs at the CEGEP and university level? Some examples are general psychology, development psychology, abnormal psychology, psychology and the law, and there's many more.
List the university courses that you would need. For one term, an example would be directed studies, univariate statistics, animal behavior and genetics, representation of body and space, socialization processes, neuroimagining of development instructors, psychology in the court, and psychological testing and assessments.
Is there any field experience involved? If so, describe it. It is mandatory for students studying to become a psychologist to complete an internship as one of their credentials to get their graduate degree. The fieldwork is taken in schools, social service agencies, psychiatric hospitals, legal clinics, and youth centers. At the University of NYU, the year is divided into 3 semesters of fieldwork. During the first semester, students start at assessing specific abilities, interests, and personality characteristics in order to choose which professional fields they would like to enter within psychology. Then, during second and third, students learn how to connect theory to practice as they continue their fieldwork.
How long would it take to complete the program? It would take about 2 years and 1 summer course.
What schools have the best reputation for this particular field of study? Number 1 is Harvard University, then there's Stanford University and Cambridge University.
Job description.
Provide a job description. A psychologist studies the human mind and behavior. A research psychologist works with physical, emotional, or social aspects of humans, while psychologists in health service provide mental care in hospitals, clinics, schools, or private settings. There are also clinical psychologists who work in counseling centers, independent or group practices, hospitals, or clinics. They help patients.
3 o'clock.
They help patients with mental or emotional aspects of their lives and may help patients deal with illnesses or injuries. Some may work in physical rehabilitation settings, helping their patients with illnesses, while others with personal crises such as divorce.
Where will you be working? A psychologist work in hospitals, clinics, schools, private settings, counseling centers, or rehab centers.
What are the working conditions, salary, responsibilities? The working conditions is possible partnership, controlled and relaxed environment, and work business hours. The salary for an intern is about $35,000 to $50,000 per year. Registered psychologist is $50,000 to $100,000 per year. And the responsibilities, they diagnose patients, provide guidance, and listen to patients.
Describe a regular day. A typical day for a psychologist would differ depending on the type of psychology someone goes into. For a clinical psychologist, they would help mentally and emotionally disturbed clients adjust to life, help medical and surgical patients deal with illnesses or injuries, help people deal with personal crisis, interview patients and diagnose them, provide individual, family, or psychotherapy, develop and implement treatment and intervention plans, develop and implement behavior modification programs, or they would train graduate students.
What do you find most appealing about the job and the least appealing? The most appealing is the feeling of reward after helping a patient through a problem and making them feel better, and the least appealing is seeing how awful people feel and being surrounded by constant negative energy.
What are the responsibilities for promotion? The possibilities would be starting their own practice in which they would take care of their own salary. They could supervise groups of psychologists, and they could become more well-known within a community.
Market demand.
What does the market say about this career? Is it in great demand? While psychology is attracting more people than there are openings, this occupation is still in great demand, seeing as a large number of the people that want this job. Barely 1/4 of the students with a bachelor's degree in psychology earn their master's or PhD in psychology, even though it is mandatory to become part of this profession. For students that have graduated with a master's degree or PhD, their unemployment rate is low. For the other 3/4 of graduates that do not obtain either of the necessary degrees, the employment rate is much higher. Therefore, as long as the student has the necessary qualifications, then they should have no problem finding a job.
Does the future look promising? The future for psychologists does look promising, seeing as 3/4 of those who have a graduate in psychology were unable to earn their master's or PhD, so there is a great demand for this occupation.
Is there going to be a shortage or a surplus of positions in the field you have chosen? It seems like there will be a surplus of positions in this field because seeing as the average age of psychologists is at 44 now, in the future there will be a large number retiring, leaving many job openings, while the number of people seeking work in this field will not have increased.
Is the field growing or diminishing? The field will be increasing because mental health is in strong growth and the students have an increase of mental health needs.
Is it controlled by the government, completely private, or a combination of both? It's a combination of both, seeing as psychologists that work for themselves own private clinics, therefore it is private to them. But there are still psychologists that work in schools or hospitals or other government-owned areas.
What types of changes are happening in the field? With the use of technology, there are new and faster ways to diagnose patients, and diverse ages, ethnicity groups, and racial groups.
This is our bibliography. Thank you.